See, at this stage, it's part 28, we're fitting the motor, and it shows a couple of cable ties and the wires coming out. We've got ours on top, so we don't have to worry about that. So let's get this bit together. Put the screws in first. And how does the motor orientate? That's a good question. It doesn't really say. I don't know whether there's a right or a wrong way to do this. As long as it meshes, I'll be alright. Yeah, because it doesn't really show right way up. That is how I done it too, so I think it is correct. Yeah, because all it does is say keep it flat. Well, I'll try it. See, just see what happens. There might not be a wrong way. That don't look right. That don't look right. No, that's not right. We've got to go the other way up. Now I might have it and spin it. I want the motor the other way up. So that's the label at the back. And actually fitting the ESC where I did was an advantage because the cables are short on these ones. So definitely a much better idea. And now I've just got to try and fit these cable ties. They show it through from the top. As there's not a lot of plastic here, I would not go tight with these. I'll just pull them until they're sort of just about there. I wouldn't recommend any more, because I've seen people break the plastic. That's it. We'll trim those off. So all I've got to do is set the electrics up, which is a really easy job. But I'm just going to, like I said, spin that motor plate because I want it the other way up, and I'll get the electrics in. Now part 29 is fitting the rear body mounts. I don't know if this is a up or down. Yeah, he only goes one way. once these screws are in, it'll be just a case of mounting it. Put it onto the back, slide it in, and then you've got to push a screw through and put a nut on the other side. Unless I've done something wrong. These screws are not long enough. Thing is, they don't line up with what they say, but I put it together correct, so why is it so tight? That doesn't make sense. What have I done wrong? Now I'm actually at a slight loss here, because I can't see what I could have done. There's no way I can do it wrong. Unless I'm wrong about the screw, but I definitely took that all the way in. And the screw is not showing. So it's like it's got to be longer. So we've got to go into the spares. Hopefully I've got something. This is a better size. So what we've got. That'll be the one. But have I got two of them? Yes, I have. Yeah, that's quite weird, because I can't see how I could have it wrong. Admittedly, the screws are only coming up 18s. And what I'm using are, well, much longer. They're a little bit too long, but that don't make sense. Yeah, because there's no way that they're going to work. So it's funny what you might come up against. I'll find out if it's wrong, because the body post will be out of place a bit. Yeah, because I've definitely got no screws in there any longer. And everything's in the right place, because the gearbox is correct. So that completes a very weird part 29. Part 30 is a simple one. It's just the holders for the battery. Just got to put one each side. I'll only show you one side because it's not an exciting or interesting part. But the body mount, I went back over that, and going all the way back through, there's only 20mm screws that size, but they were too short. I know the ones I've used are over length, but that's the best I could find. So that's that as far as gone. Now on to part 31. Now, part 31 was actually fitting the aerial, but I've got to find some way to fit it, and I've got an idea of putting a little bracket here and running the aerial somewhere around there. It's around here. I'll work it out in a minute. So stage 32, I'm going to show you doing that, but it was putting just the tyres on. So we've got them all prepped. So we'll move on to stage 33. Now part 33, we're going to put some wheels on. I'm going to start with the fronts, because they're easier. Just as you know, be a couple of bearings. And put them on. And we'll put the nut on. I'll tell you what, there's a lot of movement. I might see if I can shim it out with something. That is a bit too much. This might work, it might not. We never used the 850 bearings, did we? Let's try sticking one of them, or the 850 bronze bushing. Let's stick one of them on the inside and see what that does. Yeah, just wind it back a bit and that seems to work. If not, I'll have to find another way of doing it. That was definitely a bit too much slack. Yeah. Well, we'll see how they go. If not, I can always remove them. But that would mean the wheels would be doing this all the time, going back and forth. Yeah, just wind them up, back them off a bit, and then now onto the rears. That's it. I like to put these on the side a little. Because if it knocks the track out too much, I'll swap around the bushing at the front. That's nice. And there we go, the final nuts. Diff is not too bad, the CVDs sound good. And now on to the final part, which is the battery holder when you put the battery in, and then we'll be on to body. So here we go, the final part of the chassis. And that's the build over with of the main chassis. And like I said, all I've got to do now is find somehow to fix the aerial. Because they say on the outside, but you've got to run it near the spring, don't fancy that. So I'll come up with something.